Welcome everybody to this edition of Attention Talk Video. I'm your host, ADHD and Attention Coach Jeff Copper, and I'm here today to talk to you about a procrastination tip. As an attention and ADHD coach, when I go on the web and I read solutions, there's all kinds of stuff like chunk it down, give yourself breaks, various things like that, which for many they kind of work, but they're symptomatic. They don't really get to the diagnosis of kind of what's going on and why people procrastinate. As a coach, I always try to figure out what those markers are. And today I've got a tip for you that's very common. People procrastinate when they're really not clear on something. It might sound like simple, but a lot of times people don't realize it. There was a guy I was coaching one time who had a mailbox that he needed to put up. And he said he was procrastinating on it. And when I began to ask him what he wasn't clear about, we actually revealed that he didn't really, there was a couple different posts that he was going to put in. He wasn't really clear on which one he was going to do. So he wasn't clear about it, so he wasn't doing it. In that particular situation, if you want to move forward, the idea is find out what you're not clear about, figure out how you gain some clarity, and often you can do that. Another example is scheduling trips. I myself, I have a few things that are coming up that I need to schedule some hotel rooms for, and I realize that I'm not doing it because there's some ambiguity. I'm not sure exactly what part of town I want to stay. And quite frankly, I'm not so sure if my wife will go or I will go, which will have a dependency on where that hotel is. That's a simple situation, but there's lack of clarity there. So as a result of it, I'm putting it off until I gain some clarity. Other examples of this is I'm going to be giving a presentation in a couple months. I know what the topic is, and I know some general ideas. But I've been putting off actually doing the presentation because while the outcome is clear, I want to give this presentation on the particular topic, I'm not really clear on the story that I'm going to tell or how I'm going to get there. And just to sit down and say, hey, listen, I got to do this, or chunk it down really doesn't do it. If I sit down and say, listen, I need to figure out my process or what my story is going to be, it'll be easier. And for me, that is so much easier to do by having a conversation with somebody. Kind of talking my way through it, bouncing ideas off them, getting some stuff off. So the notion here is that would actually help me go forward. So if you're struggling and procrastinating at something, I would encourage you to kind of pause and say, what is not clear here? And if you can identify what you're unclear about, then begin to say, how can you gain clarity on whatever it is that you're unclear? And that might be kind of superficial at first, but I've learned that if you look back in your past and you try to look at how you gain clarity at different times, that will give you some real good tips. And for example, many of those with ADD, I find that when they lack clarity, the best thing for them to do is go talk about it. Go have conversations about it with other people. Just say, hey, listen, I need to talk out loud. I'm trying to figure this out. What do you think? Or what's your experience? Or whatever. And that process many times can unearth some ideas that will actually help them gain clarity. Or a person will say, here's where you go. You go to this website, you look for, you search for this term, and exactly what you're going to do is kind of come up, and then you have crystal clarity on where to go. So that's our ADHD procrastination tip of the day. I encourage you to take a look around at everything you're procrastinating on, and if you're not clear about something, don't focus on beating yourself on procrastinating. Focus on trying to gain the clarity so that then you can move forward. Hope you enjoy this version of Attention Talk Video. Take care.